Hello everybody, it's Roger once again, Mud Fossil University. This was in a video from Brian Forrester, who was in Egypt, and this is a mummy, but it's a mummy inside of a statue. Now, it appears, because I found more of these. See these are the ribs. That's where the lung was, and I think the liver is right there. Now, this was coded, and it's all inscribed with all their hieroglyphs and all that stuff. It's one of these regular gigantic looking statues that you see, and nobody's really paid that close attention to. But Brian saw this. He says, very strange weathering. Well, that's not strange weathering. That's a body inside of that statue. Now, I just got something from a friend, Bonnie, and this is the beauty of Mud Fossil University. I have more eyes than anybody in the whole world, and they send me things right away when I start asking questions, and they come up with answers. And here's what she sent me. Now, I get these all the time. People say, oh, go look at this one, go look at that one. Now, this is Egypt discover a new Colossus. Now, I saw this 2 years ago or so when it was first discovered. I think it was discovered in 2017. And they dug it up as they were excavating downtown. I think it's in Cairo. Now, suburbs of Cairo. What's this guy doing? He's inside the guy's brain. I don't know what they're doing there. They didn't describe what's going on. But I can also see, like, probably they wrap them in something and then they put them in these molds. Because I could see another place on his head that, where I could see, let me come back to it. Hold on. Now, once again, I would be able to tell quite easily if I had access to like all of the broken parts, because that's where I can see the anatomy. I can see the blood vessels. Now, this looks like they had wrapped his body and then coated it with a skim of concrete. Really, it's almost like concrete. It's granite. It's a slurry that they would coat it with, just like pottery almost, and then they turned into statues. All right, anybody that has any idea about mud fossils knows that the red blood is the stuff that leaks and runs. And it runs down from places just like this. There'll be a very serious artery that runs in here that would have been compressed and finally broke. They come right out of the neck and so forth, just where you expect the blood to be. And this is what I'm seeing here. Now, I could be wrong, because I can't see this. I can't get there. But I found other things that show that is also, well, I'll show you. Now, this is after they put it all back together, all the pieces that they had in a rendition. I don't know. I mean, they didn't actually put it together, I don't think, but they sort of put it together within the computer. But this is what you see running out of where you have your heavy arteries and so forth, which would run down to his arm. Why is this? That looks like his stomach right there. Why is there 2 layers of his stomach? Why is there 2 layers of his face? These are the kind of things that they coated over these. I'm sure this is his original face under there, or somewhere in here. I've seen a number of them. It's not just 1 or 2. All right, this is Ramses II. Now, what I want you to look at is over there. That is his leg cross-section. Now, I see biology. I don't know what you see, but I understand biology. I understand where the tendons run and the muscles and so forth, and what the leg would look like inside, and these bundles here. Now, this, in my estimation, is another coated body. These can be easily looked at. I fully understand the chemistry now, and the biology, and the anatomy. Any anatomist is going to understand it, and any biologist understands the biology and the anatomy, and any chemist can understand the chemistry. It's not hard to do this. It's just that no PhD that I've found has any full breadth of knowledge. They all have one little piece, and oh no, I don't know anything about that. Don't talk to me about that. And then they just say, no, everybody else says it's not true, so it's got to be not true. Well, they can't think for themselves is my problem. I really feel that way now. You say, what about this? Well, I don't know anything about that. I'm just a guy that does this other thing over here. I just do the left foot. I don't do the right foot. It's really that bad. It's absolutely that bad. All right, you just saw that guy's broken leg and the bundles that were in where the break was. These are the bundles that run down to the muscles and the tendons. Now I'm going to show you something. Remember this structure here. And the red flesh is obviously the muscular part and the fleshy part. And this is the tendinous part, the very strappy, hard part. And it runs down across your legs like this. Let's see if we can find some of that somewhere. All right, this is a Statue del Gigante. And it's like a resort area. But this was originally, I believe this was Gorgon, changed by a gorgon. This is obviously a creature. That is that tendon. This is the red bloody stuff. That's your flesh and tendons. I mean your muscles. His face, they tried to fix it up and plaster it back together in 1908 or something like that. And they were, oh, they made it then. No, they didn't. It was just like this, and they tried to fix it back up. Did a terrible job. They put some rebar in here and there, and it's just falling apart. And they're all falling apart now. Or they're all starting to fall apart because that stuff eventually manifests its way out. There was a lot of them, and they were giants, gigantic. These guys are even tiny. This one here, I can guarantee you that is real. This tendon and everything you can see, it's falling apart. Again, this is the kaolin clays of the skin. Fully understand this. I understand how these spots on it, I understand the dripping of the blood that's coming out, and he's strangling some kind of little thing that looks like a dragon. Now, Ovid wrote Metamorphosis. You should read it. It tells of what the gods did, and there was a ton of different gods. Ovid was one of the first writers, and he wrote about these exact things. And this was Phineas's turn to stone. They all deserved the punishment they suffered, except one of Perseus's warriors. While he was fighting on his side, Aconteus saw the Gorgon's head by accident and took the shape of hardened stone. Well, actually, Aconteus did it, and then Astyages struck him with his long sword, thinking he was still alive. He turned hard into stone instantaneously in a swipe of a sword. And the blade gave a high-pitched ringing noise. So Astyages went, wow, holy smokes. He stood there amazed. The same power transformed him, and he remained there with a wondering look on his marble face. So he became Gorgonized. They all happened that way. Now, the pharaohs and all of that stuff, I think they were put in statues, I mean, probably after they were dead, and then just put like in a mold. It looks like to me. And then later on, in the newer kingdoms, they started just putting them in a sarcophagus instead of putting them in a mold. That's what it looks like to me. And they still tried to make their faces on them and everything, like Tut's coffin. But they didn't mold them into the statues anymore. That's what it looks like to me.